on it.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good to see you. Good to have a nice Shabbat to celebrate together here. Nice fall weather outside to enjoy as well. We'll join together in the words of Hine Matov to begin. Hine Matovu Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matovu Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov U'Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov U'Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Each of us enters this service with different needs. Some hearts are full of gratitude and joy. They are overflowing with the happiness of love and the joy of life. They are eager to confront the day and are recovering from illness or have escaped misfortune, and we rejoice with them. Some hearts ache with sorrow, disappointments weigh heavily upon them, and they have tasted despair. Families have been broken, loved ones lie on a bed of pain. Death has taken those whom they've cherished. May our presence and sympathy bring them comfort. Some hearts are embittered. They have sought answers in vain. Ideals are mocked and betrayed. Life has lost its meaning and value. May the knowledge that we too are searching restore their hope and give them courage to believe that not all is emptiness. And some spirits hunger. They long for friendship. They crave understanding. They yearn for warmth. May we, in our common need and striving, gain strength from one another as we share our joys, lighten each other's burdens, and pray for the welfare of our community. We'll join together in the words of the candle lighting. I invite you, if you have a set of candles that you would like to light, to join me in the lighting. You can see as I reach back into the abyss of space and get my candles from behind me. Together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Close. Close. We'll see if the candles flicker behind me in space, and every once in a while will make their appearance known, even though they disappear back into the stars. We join together in the words of Lecha Dodi, welcoming our Shabbat bride. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad. Ishmiyanu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad. V'shemo tiferet v'tila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala. Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala. Penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechol b'nilcha. Ki mekor habracha. Meherosh mikadem nesuka. Sof ma'aseh b'machshavati la. Lecha Dodi likrat kala. Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala. Penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri Kiva orech umi uri, shir daberi, yevod Adonai alaich nigla. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam v'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei yam sigula, boi kala. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. And so we continue with the words of the Baruch Hu, with the words of our call to worship. As is the custom while we're on Zoom, I invite you to either rise physically or to rise in your hearts as we join together in these words. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayers? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yadadai dai dai. Yadadai dai dai. Yadadai dai dai. Yadadai dai dai. Yada die die die, yada die die die, yada die die die, yada die die die. We join together in the words of the Mariv Aravim, blessing God for these, the creations of night and stars and moon. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'hochma potech she'arim uvitvuna meshana itim, umachalif et hazmanim, Umesader et hakokavim demishmerotehem barakia kirtsono. Bore yom v'layla golel or mipnei hoshech v'hoshech mipnei or. Mavir yom umevi layla umavdil ben yom uben layla. Adonai tzavaot shemo el chai v'kayam tamid mimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ari ha'avi. One song can spark a moment, one flower can wake a dream, one tree can start a forest, one bird can herald spring, one smile begins a friendship, one handclasp lifts a soul, one star can guide a night at ship, one word can frame the goal, one vote can change a nation, one sunbeam lights a room, one candle wipes out darkness, one laugh will conquer gloom. One step must start each journey, one word must start each prayer. One hope will raise our spirits, one touch can show you care. One voice can speak with wisdom, one heart can know what's true. One life can make the difference. You see, it's up to you. We join together in the words of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. We are seated as we join together in the words of the Ve'ahavta. So we saw yet last week as we celebrated Simchat Torah, the words of the Ve'ahavta, found them in our Torah, and then continued onwards. The words of the Ve'ahavta, we bring to light our Torah every single service as we say, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'kol levavcha v'kol nafshecha v'kol meodecha, ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh, asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'am, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ושוכבך וקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Standing at the parted shores, we still believe what we were taught ever before we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, the promised land, and that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osei felem, nora tehilot osei felem. Malchutecha rahu vanecha, okei ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Zelianu ve'amru, Adonai lo, Adonai lo, le'olam va'ad. And we continue with the words of our Amidah, our standing prayer, our tefillah. And as is our custom, I invite you to rise either with your physicality or in your hearts at this time as we say together, Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevii Gula Lifnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magin. Baruch atah Adonai Magin Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rab le'Hoshia. Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Sohomech noflim v'rofech oholim, umatir asurim. Kahayim emunato lishenei afar, Micha mocha bal giburot, Umido Mela, Melech Memihitu Mechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'neman atah lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh, Shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yalu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. We turn to the words of Misha Berach, to our prayer of healing, of holy healing, healing of the mind, healing of the spirit, healing of the soul, and healing of the body. I invite you at this time, if you're thinking of somebody who's in need of this special blessing of healing, to either unmute and share their name with our community or to bring them into your hearts before we recite these words. We offer this moment to offer names. May all those who we bring into our hearts and bring into our minds be blessed with healing as we sing together. Mi shebeirach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mikor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And so we turn to our story for the evening, our Zoomagog story time, as we bring to our memories the fact that in a couple nights, at least on my street, I'll be handing out plenty of candy to all of the children, but not without a scare. So here we have one of our Jewish folklore werewolf ghost stories. There was once a famous rabbi named Rabbi Eliezer, who was the scholar of a town and a well-respected man. Rabbi Eliezer lived a long life and knew that he soon must pass down everything that he knew to his son, who was a young boy at the time. In his lessons to his son Shmuel, Rabbi Eliezer said to him, "My son, there will come a time when evil will try to overpower you, and you will have to and it will try to fill you with terrible thoughts and make you do horrible actions. When all seems lost, do not be afraid, for my spirit through God will fill you, and you will prevail." After Rabbi Eliezer died, the people of the town knew that they must care for the orphan Shmuel. The people had compassion on the orphan and tried to send him to school, tried to give him a home, just like they would any other young child. But Shmuel preferred to roam the forest and the fields instead of sitting in stifling classrooms. Shmuel, every time they would get him and find him and bring them to the school, he would run away from the stern schoolmaster. And eventually the townspeople gave up and just let Shmuel roam free in the wild places outside the town. When Shmuel was a teenager, he came to all of the parents of the school and he offered to guide their young children to school each day through the woods so that the parents could go about their days without having to spend their mornings bringing their children to the school. Shmuel would be their chaperone, and Shmuel knew the field so well that he could do it with his eyes closed. And so each day Shmuel gathered the children and led them back to the school, back and forth to school. And in the short time, parents started to become astonished with how their young children would run and laugh through the streets and the forest with their newfound independence and the knowledge that they had gained from Shmuel's lessons as he walked them to and from school. Joy and song and laughter of the young children filled the town like never before. In fact, the angels themselves, which guarded the corners of the town, took pleasure in the children's joy. And their own songs of praise took on new sweetness, and the radiance of God burned brighter in the heavens. But there was one mystical soul which grew darker amidst all of the newfound joy in the town, a soul which hated the sound of children laughing, the devil Satan, for the evil one feared his dominion on earth would suffer as a result of Shmuel's influence. So Satan searched for a way to overpower his human adversary, the teenager Shmuel. And Satan finally found a path forward after learning of the troubled heart of the coal burner who lived in the forest near Shmuel's home. The coal burner lived on the outskirts of town, separated from the community, despite being the only source of fire and heat and light for the whole town. The townspeople who ignored the hard work of the coal burner caused the coal burner to have hate and disdain fill his heart for the town he served every day. And the coal burner from time to time was overcome by fits of rage so terrible that he was transformed into a savage beast, a werewolf, which struck terror into the heart of the townspeople. One night when the coal burner was asleep, Satan thrust his hand into the man's chest and plucked out his heart, and the spirit of Satan filled the man. The coal burner awoke, and he felt such terrible despair that he tore out of his home and raced into the forest, howling and snarling, white foam dripping from his mouth. Soon he came upon Shmuel and the children on their way to school. The werewolf, with the foam dripping from his mouth, terrified the children so much that many of the children had fevers raging through their bodies. Fortunately, Shmuel knew the forest so well that he was able to guide all of the children home, but scared to their bones. And of course, the next day, the parents refused to surrender their children to Shmuel for fear that the beast might attack again. And then Shmuel remembered his father's words, "Do not be afraid of the evil one, for God will be with you and you will prevail." So Shmuel went back to the parents and pleaded with them until at last they yielded to him. And he talked with the children too and convinced them that no harm would befall them in the forest. And the next morning, Shmuel led the children along the path until they reached the place in the forest where the coal burner turned werewolf had attacked them. And suddenly, out of a tangle of thorns, burst the werewolf, snarling with his sharp white teeth. And remembering his father's words, Shmuel approached the werewolf and reached out his hand. But the beast seemed to grow as his hand grew closer. And Shmuel knew as he reached out his hand that the coal burner who lived within the werewolf would soon realize that they meant no harm. So Shmuel said to the werewolf, "I know that you have been filled by the evil Satan, but I and the children are here to greet you each and every day so that you not need live alone on the outskirts of town. If you can find it in your heart, we vow to be here for you every day, to value your hard work as our town coal burner." And so the lonely coal burner, who had for his whole life felt alone, was able to cast aside the despair that felt him and cast out the evil spirit of Satan which encompassed him. And the children and parents and Shmuel all grew to know and care for their town coal burner, so that he may never know the pain of his past, nor turn into a werewolf filled by Satan ever again. And so the joy and light returned to town, and Shmuel to this day leads the children past the home of the coal burner, never breaking his vow and always remembering the words of his father. There will come a time when the evil one will try to overpower you. It will fill you with terrible thoughts and make you do horrible actions. Please, when all seems lost, do not be afraid, for my spirit through God will fill and you will prevail. Shabbat Shalom. Even our Jewish customs have stories of ghosts and goblins and golems and werewolves. And I have a very fun book right here next to me called The Classic Tales, 4,000 Years of Folklore, which is filled with 626 pages of horror stories and stories of werewolves and ghosts in our Jewish tradition. And so we turn back to our service for the evening as we turn to the words of Aleinu, our closing prayer. And I invite us once again to rise either in our hearts or physically at this time. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu ki aratzot, velo samanu kimishpachot adama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, vigor aleinu kifol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei malech malkei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai L'melech al kol ha'aretz, Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo echad. And so we turn to the words of our mourner's Kaddish, our Kadisha tome. When you thought I wasn't looking, I saw you hang my first painting on the refrigerator, and I wanted to paint another. When you thought I wasn't looking, I saw you feed a stray cat, and I thought it was good to be kind to animals. When you thought I wasn't looking, I saw you make my favorite cake just for me, and I knew that the little things are special things. When you thought I wasn't looking, I heard you say a prayer, and I believe that there is a God that I could always talk to. When you thought I wasn't looking, I felt you kiss me goodnight, and I felt loved. When you thought I wasn't looking, I saw tears come from your eyes, and I learned that sometimes things hurt, but it's all right to cry. When you thought I wasn't looking, I saw that you cared, and I wanted to be everything that I could be. When you thought I wasn't looking, I looked, and I wanted to say thank you for all the things I saw when you thought I wasn't looking. On this Shabbat in our community, we remember the yahrzeits of Larry Briskin, Henry Nathan, Veronica Warner, Carol Denmark Fellman, Thelma Ginsburg, Yael Holt, Eva Peskin, Jeffrey Chigger, Leo Goldsberg, Ida Jaffe, Jean Levy. And we mourn the recent passings of Maria Weisblatt, Lori Etta Elman, Stephen McPherson, and Joyce Booth. To these names, we add the names of the victims killed 4 years ago at the Tree of Life or the Simcha congregation. Joyce Feinberg, Richard Gottfried, Rose Mallinger, Jerry Rabinowitz, Cecil Rosenthal, David Rosenthal, Bernice Simon, Sylvan Simon, Daniel Stein, Melvin Wax, and Irving Younger. We turn to the words of the mourner's Kaddish as we say together, Yitzgadal v'yitzgadash shemei Rabbah, ve'amad divrach yirtei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayachon uvyomechon v'chayei tekol beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kari v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei almaya. Yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmeid kudesha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvechata v'nechemata, ta'miran ve'ama v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'ramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, and to all who mourn, to which we say, Amen. Please be seated. We join together. If you have your Kiddush, if you have your juice, as it too comes from the outer space floating into this materialistic world that we have, we say together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher Knishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza b'hanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ava v'ratzonin gilanu zikaron le'maseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikrei kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim ki vanu v'harta me'otanu ki tashta mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodechecha be'ahava u'b'ratzon, inchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim. And the words of our motzi, today I'm saying motzi with pita chips. So maybe you have a challah, or maybe you have pita chips like me. But the nice thing about triangle pita chips is you can turn them into a nice Jewish star by just turning one upside down. And, and then now they're in space, and now they're my friend, my family doesn't matter. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, motzi lechem min haaretz, Shabbat Shalom. Fresh pita chips. Just open the box today. And so we close with the words of Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Grant us peace, grant us the whole world peace. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Uya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Imru, Amen. Yahaseh Shalom, Yahaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yahaseh Shalom, Yahaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Hope that is a good Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.